PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here in the sports and entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, on prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. We have a fantastic show planned out for you here on Vegas Hockey Hub. There are all the people on our YouTube channel on PR Connections Radio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notification bell. Not miss any episode of Vegas Hockey Hub, and support all the other shows on the network on PR Connections Radio by going and looking at all the content on there on prconnectionsradio.com. And also to all the people on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, don't forget to like, share, and also turn notifications on so not miss any content we have here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, for tonight's edition of Vegas Hockey Hub, we are going to have a very exciting show as we are going to be doing our top 10 favorite NHL jerseys of all time. Now, your host, Ian Rachiele, this is obviously a biased opinion. This is my personal opinion on what I have as the best NHL jerseys of all time. So let's get into it, and we're going to be talking about these 10 jerseys right here. So we're going to start out by having a really good one here. So let's get into it now. At number 10, and technical difficulties, folks, it happens, and there's the Arizona Coyotes. It's one of the teams. But before we do a top 10, I wanted to give an honorable mention real quick because my favorite Vegas Golden Knights jersey is the reverse retro that they did last year. And of course, that is the glow-in-the-dark jersey the Vegas Golden Knights did. I always found these jerseys to be really cool. I bought one myself. I have it hanged up in my closet. And it's a really nice look for the Vegas Golden Knights. Not just because of the fact that it is glow-in-the-dark, but the lighting, the design of it. I like the lettering. And I would say that in terms of the colors, it meshes very well. In fact, based off of what you see on the current home jersey, as opposed to what the reverse retro looks like, I actually favor the reverse retro over the current home jerseys that we have, even though I wish we had the old home jerseys back, but that's besides the point. So the favorite jersey from the Vegas Golden Knights, your Vegas Golden Knights, is the reverse retro. Now, at number 10, we're going to go with the New Jersey Devils. And more importantly, this is their championship winning days out there in New Jersey. Now, what I've always liked about the New Jersey Devil jersey is how clean it looks. Not only do you have the nice, red, black, and white, they kind of mesh together very well, but also when you look at them on the ice, it's very easy to look at. It stands out. It's something that really catches your attention. And I will say when it comes to New Jersey Devils, I've always been a fan of what their jersey looks like. Now, very recently, a couple of years ago, they made a small modification to it. They made it more red. They took away some black and some white and made it a little bit more red. And that's fine. Don't get me wrong. But I just prefer the old school New Jersey Devil uniform, especially from like the 90s, 2000 era. I find these New Jersey Devil jerseys to be really nice looking. And that's why at number 10, I have the New Jersey Devils. Their home jerseys, I've always found those to be incredibly well done. At number 9, we are going to go over to the Colorado Avalanche, and we're going to talk about their original home jersey. Now, I'm going to point out there is a difference between the jerseys they had back in the day and the jerseys they have now. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm kind of going to go back and forth and kind of explain the differences. So as you see here, and this is, by the way, one of my favorite players of all time. Of course, I had to have him on here. But on the original Colorado Avalanche jerseys, there's some more design on here. It's not just more red. There's some blue on the shoulders. There's a white outline. But more importantly, you had the foot on the emblem. On the patch, they had a foot on there, which I always found really cool. I always liked the foot. I also have to point out that it's more of a good design in terms of the actual logo. There's more of a pattern there, and I always appreciated that. As a matter of fact, I had a Milan Hajduk old school Colorado Avalanche jersey, and of course, over time, it gets, it starts to fade. It starts to, get ruined. But yeah, back in the day, I had a good old Milan Hajduk jersey. I used to find that really incredible. But what the difference is between the original Colorado Avalanche jerseys, the jerseys that won 2 Stanley Cup championships in the 90s and 2000s, and the one it has now, is the one it has now, they have, like I said, the C replace the foot. Okay, so you have the C that replaced the foot on the shoulder. Also, the logo is also a little bit different. It also looks a little bit more smaller on the chest. You also might notice that the numbers are also a bit different. The font is a bit different. So professionally, in my opinion, when it comes to Colorado Avalanche, I prefer the old school jersey, like I said, over the current one. But I won't deny that the new jersey it would be one of my favorites in the NHL. I just personally prefer the old school one. So at number 9, you have the Colorado Avalanche. You have their original home jersey, and that would be at number 9. Now, going to number 8, as we're talking about our favorite NHL jerseys of all time here on Vegas Hockey Hub, we have the home jersey of the Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, I know we have Patrick Kane on there. Definitely going to be a Blackhawks legend. Hopefully he could be back at some point. Sign maybe a one-day contract or retire with the team. But what I always like about Patrick Kane, the fact that he's always going to be a Blackhawks legend, is now you have Connor Bedard, who's going to be wearing this home jersey. And ever since I was a kid, I've always liked this uniform. It has one of the best logos in the NHL. And that the emblem on the shoulder is iconic. It is one of the best emblems you have in the NHL. The logo as well, when you have the red, the black, and the white, you have the black and white outline on the bottom. Then you have the stripes on the knee and the foot. So I will say with Chicago Blackhawks, I've always liked this design, and I'm always going to say that I appreciate what this design has. Because when it comes to Chicago Blackhawks, it is iconic, one of the original 6 teams. And there's going to be a team we're going to talk about later that is actually the best uniform from the original 6. But this is definitely number 2. I've always respected the Chicago Blackhawks uniforms. They're nicely done. I had a Jonathan Toews Blackhawks jersey. I think at one point I even had a Patrick Kane Blackhawks jersey when I was younger. And yes, the Chicago Blackhawks home jersey is at number 8. Now at number 7, we have to go over to the retro part of it. And man, we have to talk about the Hartford Whalers. This has been by far one uniform that I feel like has kind of been taken underrated. It's kind of been forgotten over time. I'm a huge fan of the Hartford Whalers. I mean, the uniforms did look clean, and this is actually what they did for the reverse retro. And I will admit the reverse retro actually got me to love the jersey a bit more now. I mean, first off, I love the logo. I mean, that is a logo that is one of the best in all hockey. And if I had my choice, it would be a logo that I would bring back into the NHL. Now, regardless if it would be the Hartford Whalers coming back as a team or the Carolina Hurricanes having a alternate uniform with the Hartford Whaler logo as a part of it, I have always been a big fan of the Hartford Whalers logo. I also think the green and the white, it blends very well together. I also say the green pants and the green and the white outline, that does very well in terms of design. But I will say the Hartford Whalers, it is one of the best old school uniforms that we had back in the day. And I'm very happy the Carolina Hurricanes brought this back for reverse retros. And hopefully we can see more of it in the future. At number 6, I have to go with a throwback to the 2000s. Man, I have to go with Dominic Hasek, Chris Drury, Mike Greer. I have to go back and look at the goat head of the Buffalo Sabres. In my opinion, the best logo the Buffalo Sabres ever had. And this is a team that was definitely fun to watch in the 2000s. I mean, you had Ryan Miller replacing Dominic Hasek. You also had Thomas Vanek. You had Daniel Briere. There were so many legends on that Buffalo Sabres team back in the 2000s when they had the goat head. And I will say that I do love what the Buffalo Sabres have done. And last year, the Buffalo Sabres made me really happy when they brought back the goat head as a reverse retro. And I actually had it as my best reverse retro when I talked about it last year. I will say the logo, by the way, does pop more. You see that there's a red outline underneath the actual goat head. I actually think that makes it look a lot better. It actually makes it pop more. The letter design's pretty well. And I will say, since we saw the reverse retro, so we got to see a look at it, I think the red and white outline actually makes the black better. So I'm going to say when it comes to Buffalo Sabres, at number 6 of my favorite NHL jerseys of all time, we got to go with the goat head out there in Buffalo. And yeah, I'm definitely a huge fan of what they had there. And then at number 5, and to me, the best jersey that came out of the original 6, and that is the Boston Bruins. I mean, this is such a legacy, such an iconic uniform. And I mean, it doesn't matter how long this uniform has been around. It is iconic. Back to the days of Bobby Orr and Ray Bourque and Cam Neely and all the great legends that were part of the Boston Bruins back in the day. To now, considering what they did the past couple of seasons, this Boston Bruins jersey has always been a fan favorite, has always been a classic, and I always have to give a lot of respect to what the Boston Bruins have done in terms of that uniform. And I will say, when it comes to the Boston Bruins, it is a fantastic uniform, especially you have the yellow with the Bruin on the shoulder. You have the yellow and white outline with kind of black, into the white. I think that's pretty solid. And of course, you have the crest itself. You have the actual B in the middle of the logo, which I find very incredible. And when it comes to the Boston Bruins, what I also think stands out is how little they have changed the uniforms. Now, I know they tried to have a bare alternate in the 90s and 2000s. That really didn't mesh well. Now they just have the permanent home and away jersey. And that's what I kind of love about the Boston Bruins. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. At number 4, we have the Winnipeg Jets. We have the WHA original jersey. And yeah, this has definitely been one of my fan favorites. And when they brought it back for the Outdoor Classic, I always thought this was really cool. And also, once again, you see one of my favorite players of all time, his second appearance on this list. And I will say for the Winnipeg Jets, I just love this design of the big J as a hockey stick. That's incredible. You also have the mini jet in blue with the red circle around it. I always found that to be a really nice jersey. I also have to say the white with the red outline. Then you got the blue running down the shoulder and all on the sleeve. I think that's pretty incredible. And I will also admit that the Winnipeg Jets, they do have similar of a version of this one. But the reason why I prefer the WHA original jersey is because of the fact that it looks cleaner. It just looks more nice. The one they have that's an alternate for the Winnipeg Jets, it's okay, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't match what the original jersey had. And more importantly, when you have the alternate jersey, they have more red in it. I mean, it really has just a lot of blue and red. There really isn't a lot of white in the uniform. So I would say the Winnipeg Jets WHA original jersey would be at number 4. I've always been a big fan of this jersey. And I will say for the Winnipeg Jets, this is definitely a fantastic uniform and one of my favorites. Now, this next jersey, I'm going to show a little bit of bias here. But yeah, the Calgary Flames, their flaming red home jersey, the Flaming C, I have always found this jersey to be incredible. Regardless if it's Doug Gilmour, regardless of who it is that's wearing the jersey, I've always been a massive fan of this. And when they brought it back a couple of years ago, and yes, I know Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk are no longer on the team. Sorry to see that. But just to use this as an example, I love when they brought this back as their home uniform. They replaced the old red and black jerseys they had in the 2000s and early 2010s. I wasn't necessarily a fan of those, but these red jerseys are iconic. I love the flame coming out of the sea. I also think the yellow underneath the white kind of makes the white stand out a little bit more. And I will say the orange, the red, yellow, and white with the outline looks pretty cool. I also will say the pants as well do fit and actually make it stand out a little bit more. And I will say that when it comes to one more added touch, I do like the fact that it does kind of go old school and it has nothing on the shoulder. There's no logo, there's no emblem. It is just a old school logo, old school jersey, has nothing on the sleeves, nothing on the emblem. I like that. So I will say for the Calgary Flames, the Flaming Sea, I was always a big fan of these uniforms, and I'm happy to say that they are number 3 on my list. They get the bronze medal in terms of my favorite NHL jerseys of all time. And before we get into our top 2, we are going to repeat what our jerseys were here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So our top 10 NHL jerseys of all time. At number 10, we have the New Jersey Devils championship winning jersey. I think the red and the black looks pretty good. At number 9, we have the Colorado Avalanche, their original home jersey. This was so iconic back in the day. Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, Milan Hajduk. There is so much good that you could talk about when it comes to these jerseys. At number 8, you have the Chicago Blackhawks home jersey. It is such iconic, one of the best logos in all of hockey. And the red jerseys are always going to be an iconic uniform. And honestly, one of the best in the NHL of all time. At number 7, you have the Hartford Whaler, their old school retros. When they brought back this for reverse retros in the Carolina Hurricanes, it was fantastic. The green with the Whaler logo in the center with the W is incredible. Number 6, we have the Buffalo Sabres with the goat head. And this was an iconic jersey. I wish Buffalo Sabres would have brought it back for more than just a reverse retro. Number 5, and the best jersey out of the original 6, and that is the Boston Bruins, their home jersey. I like the fact that you have mostly black, but you do have the yellow on the shoulders, and one of the best crests that you have in all of hockey. It is an iconic logo. At number 4, you have the WHA Winnipeg Jets jerseys. And I love the logo, the Jets with the J being a hockey stick and the mini jet being in the circle. I think that's a pretty nice touch. And then number 3, you have the Calgary Flames. You have their Flaming Sea as a home jersey. It stands out. It's really cool. Has a nice pop to it. I've obviously always loved it. And then at number 2, we're actually going to go with a jersey that came back very recently, and that is the Arizona Coyotes and the Kachina jersey. Now, frankly, this is actually one of the best things the Arizona Coyotes ever had in their franchise. The fact that this uniform, it's so stylish, it has a nice pattern to it, and I will say the logo does stand out. It is iconic. It is one of the best uniforms that the NHL has ever had. And the fact that the Arizona Coyotes a couple of years ago did bring this back as their full-time jersey, I respect it. I mean, nothing against the Arizona Coyotes, but they had those bland and unaspiring red jerseys for a long time. So happy to see the Kachina jerseys being brought back. I also will admit that while the Arizona Coyotes have sucked for a while, their jerseys was the only bright spot you had on that team. So the Kachina was definitely a really good jersey, but it is not number 1 because number 1, and once again, shout out to one of my favorite players. This is the 3rd time he is on here, and that is the Anaheim Ducks, and that is their original Mighty Ducks jersey. Now, regardless of where you saw this, if it was in Mighty Ducks 2 when they were going up against Finland, regardless if they were taking on Iceland and all those teams in Mighty Ducks D2, or if they were going up against a bunch of people in D3 when they're all trying to all that. I will say that the Mighty Ducks jersey is iconic. It is one of the best jerseys in the NHL. And man, I wish they had it back when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, it's an Anaheim Ducks team that definitely needs to bring this back. It is such a clean look. And regardless if they go back to the pond or if they're staying at the Honda Center, regardless of what it is, this is hands down my favorite uniform in NHL history. And I will say that they really need to bring this back. I know they did a reverse retro of this, but it just wasn't the same. I mean, the color design, everything, they had the orange instead of the green. It just didn't really look right. I mean, I could definitely imagine seeing Trevor Zegras, Troy Terry, seeing all these guys, Jamie Drysdale, Mason McTavish, Leo Carlson. I mean, you could have a lot of fun with the upcoming Anaheim Ducks. But if you put them in the Mighty Ducks jersey, that would just be absolutely incredible. So I will say, when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks, the Mighty Ducks jersey, this was absolutely incredible. And as we were talking about jerseys here on Vegas Hockey Hub, that was my top 10 favorite NHL jerseys of all time. This is our 2023 edition, as we did one last year. But we made one notable change, and that was the Hartford Whalers. Now, the Hartford Whalers was not originally on my list, but after seeing those reverse retros and actually taking a look at the jersey more and more and more, I became fond of it. I actually started to like it. So I will say that the Hartford Whalers deserves to be in my top 10. So that's why I updated this list of the top 10 favorite NHL jerseys of all time. And as we are on YouTube, as we are on our PR Connections YouTube channel here on Vegas Hockey Hub, and we're on our YouTube channel as well, Vegas Hockey Hub, I will say that this definitely been a fun show and definitely talking about NHL jerseys. Now, I'm going to ask you, everyone watching around the world, who is your favorite NHL jerseys of all time? Who is your absolute favorite when it comes to the NHL jerseys of all time? I also gave you who my top 10 are. Now, I'm going to talk about a few honorable mentions, or should I say some jerseys that probably people are going to mention, and I just didn't have time to put them on here. Now, my honorable mention for the Vegas Golden Knights was their glow-in-the-dark uniform. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. I love their glow-in-the-dark uniforms. It's absolutely incredible. Now, two honorable mentions that I have to include on here because it would be a disservice if I didn't include them. Now, the first one is the old-school Dallas Stars logo. Now, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, the Dallas Stars had this really cool-looking jersey. It had a star on it. It had the black and the green. It looked clean, looked very clean and concise. I mean, it was definitely a really good logo. And I will say the Dallas Stars did have a lot of success with that old-school jersey. Now, unfortunately, they did get rid of it, which was definitely unfortunate. But yeah, I would say the New Jersey Devils were at number 10, but I was heavily considering putting the Dallas Stars, the old school logos from the 90s on here because, man, those are such an iconic jersey. And honestly, is one of the best jerseys from the 90s and 2000s. I know they switched to the all green look now, but honestly, the green look kind of looks boring in my opinion. It's kind of a bland jersey. And then the next honorable mention that I have to talk about on here. I'm gonna say that this jersey I did have on my original list, but I took it out because I understand why some people are biased towards it. I understand that there's some people who love this jersey. I get it, and that is the Montreal Canadiens home jersey. There's so many people who love this uniform. There's a lot of people who love the C and the H. There's a lot of people who like the blue and the white, especially on the arms and especially around the waist. I get it. And I also understand that most people would say it's probably the most famous sweater in NHL history. I get it. But here's the reason why I took it off is because when you think about it, when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, it's very similar to New York Yankees. You know, you have the pinstripes, which is great, but at the end of the day, just because you're iconic and just because you're probably the most famous sweater, does that really make it good, though? Just because it's famous and just because it's popular doesn't mean it's actually good. So I would say for the Montreal Canadiens, I actually took that off my list just because mostly, I mean, it's an average sweater. I mean, it doesn't really look that great when it comes to when you're watching a game. But since it's been around forever, it's so iconic. That's one of the main reasons why that is a Montreal Canadiens jersey. Now, there's two more uniforms I have to mention. Now, I'm not really a fan of them personally, but I understand some people would. Now, the first one is a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, the home jersey. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs fans who love their Austin Matthews jersey, their Wendell Clark jersey, their Matt Sundin jersey. They obviously have a lot of jerseys in their closet. I get it. But when it comes to Toronto, I've always been average on it. I mean, it's a good-looking jersey, but it wouldn't be a favorite of mine. It's still a good jersey, though. And then the second one I have to mention is the retro Edmonton Oilers jersey. And the reason why I'm not a fan of it is because personally, I really don't like the color orange on jerseys. Regardless if it's baseball, basketball, football, or even hockey, I've really never been a fan of orange-colored jerseys. And that's actually a main reason why I wouldn't have it on my list. Just because I really don't like the color palette. I think the design looks really off. But I'm willing to admit that I have a bias towards orange-colored jerseys. I just don't think they look that good. And the last jersey I have to mention, and the reason why I didn't include it, is because I had their person that replaced them already in the top 10. So it would kind of be unfair to have them on here. And that is the Quebec Nordiques home jersey. And the reason why I don't have Quebec on here is because at number 9, I had the Colorado Avalanche. So it'd be kind of unfair to have the Quebec Nordiques and the Colorado Avalanche on the same thing. So as we are doing this on our YouTube channel and also doing it on PR Connections Radio's YouTube channel, as we're doing our top 10 favorite NHL jerseys of all time, I'm going to do our top 10 very quickly. Going to recap what they are. At number 10, you have the New Jersey Devils, their championship winning jersey. I will say that the New Jersey Devils, they had one of the best looking jerseys in the NHL for a long period of time. I was a big fan of what it looked like, the red with the New Jersey Devil logo in the middle. I was a fan of this jersey a long time ago. Number 9, you have the Colorado Avalanche original home jersey. I mean, this was a really good logo. I like the mountain. I definitely love the foot on the shoulder. And it was a really good jersey out there in Colorado. At number 8, we have the Chicago Blackhawks home jersey. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, or if you had Bobby Hall and Stan Mikita. This was so many legends who played in this uniform. You have potentially a future legend, Connor Bedard. But yeah, one of the best logos in all hockey. You have an iconic emblem on the shoulder. And the outline you have on the waist is iconic. One of the best styling uniforms in the NHL. And that's the Chicago Blackhawks. At number 7, you had the Hartford Whalers and their retro jersey. I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes brought this back a while ago, and I was a huge fan of the way it looks, especially with the whale creating the W. That was fantastic. You also have the green with the nice white outline on the numbers. So I will say the Hartford Whalers at number 7 is a fantastic jersey. And that was a jersey I left off last year, and I had to put it on here. At number 6, we have to go down to Buffalo and talk about the goat head for the Buffalo Sabres. Really happy they brought this back for reverse retros. Honestly, the best uniform the Buffalo Sabres ever had. And the black with the gray, the white, and the red kind of popping in and out. I think this was a fantastic uniform for the Buffalo Sabres. I'm happy to see that it was brought back. At number 5, you have the best jersey from the original 6, and that is the Boston Bruins home jersey. I've always been a huge fan of the way this jersey looks. I like the crest, the B in the middle, and I like the emblem on the shoulder with the bear. Fantastic jersey at number 5 with the Boston Bruins. At number 4, we're going to go to a WHA original back in the World Hockey Association, and that is the Winnipeg Jets at number 4. And I will say, regardless of who is playing this jersey, Winnipeg Jets, you need to bring back this uniform. Really iconic jersey. At number 3, we have to go down to Calgary and talk about their home jersey, the Flaming Sea as their emblem. This was absolutely a fantastic logo out there in Calgary. A lot of fun out there. At number 2, you have the Arizona Coyotes with the Kachina, the best jersey and honestly one of the best things that ever come out of Arizona outside of Austin Matthews. And at number 1, and the best jersey in all of the NHL, in my opinion, is the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Their jersey they had for so many years. And it's an iconic jersey, one of the best, and needs to be brought back in the NHL. So, and this is our top 10 favorite NHL jerseys of all time. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, here on Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, have a good one here on Vegas Hockey Hub.